Welcome to ComSpark. Today we are in Cincinnati, Ohio. My name is Chris Philpott and I will be your guest host today. I would like to welcome our guest, Marc Moser, the Director of Information Technology and Cybersecurity Officer with Pilot Chemical. Welcome, Marc. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
I'd like to start today's discussion with just general challenges that you're concerned about within the IT field.
General challenges, really cybersecurity is always the one thing that keeps me up at night. Ransomware is the one thing we're all worried about. That's been true for several years and it continues to be that. The more advanced we get, the more advanced they get. So that's a constant battle. But also I'd have to say communication. Communication within interdepartmental but also within the company to make sure that our strategies and our efforts are in line with what everybody else is doing too. And those are two things that concern me.
That's great. I talk a lot about cybersecurity with clients, and essentially the best you can do is play defense. Right? There's no offense.
There's a lot of that, yes.
So I'd like to move on. In your opinion, what's the most overlooked area? We talked about infosecurity, but specifically within infosecurity, what gets overlooked the most?
In security or in
security?
In security. Oh gosh, I'd just have to say culture is overlooked the most. You've got your training efforts. You've got your phishing exercises, your pen tests, your policies, etc. But what it really comes down to is, do the people understand what they're doing? And in the respect of, do they understand how important it really is to not click on that link? And that kind of education, I don't think can ever be underscored enough to be considered covered.
And at Pilot, do you have that education as part of their onboarding and then as a continuing ed project for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's a constant message from us to educate users on what the bad guys are doing and how to defend against it and what are good practices and what are not good practices.
Great. Let's talk a little bit about, there's a very general term of digital transformation going on in the industry right now, so let's talk about that in a couple different areas. First, let's talk about mobile applications and mobility. Mm-hmm. So can you talk a little bit in the chemical industry, what are some of the applications you're looking to take mobile, or what mobile applications are you utilizing today?
A couple of different ways to work with that. People don't think of it as a mobile app, but email is a mobile app these days. So we're continuing to secure that and to also make it more easily available. But beyond that, the chemical industry really, in general, is a little bit behind the curve from everybody else. We tend to be more conservative in our initiatives. Pilot is now undergoing an effort to skip that middle ground and move to the head of that effort, starting with an entire series of analytics for both trending and day-to-day operations through a series of Power BI charting. Okay. And metrics that we are moving forward with. On top of that, we're looking at potentially changing our CRM to something which is more mobile friendly, and will make being able to pinpoint our clients' opportunities and action items much more quickly when you're on the road, and make our salespeople nimble and quick.
Okay, is there an opportunity then to kind of pull those two things together, that email and Power BI, CRM, put that in your sales team's hands and enable them to do more work with
Absolutely, and that's exactly, those combination of things are what are going to give us that edge ahead, and that's just where we're starting. We're also working on potentially customer portals. We're looking at supply chain initiatives with customers and with suppliers to digitize those processes and automate them even more than they are today.
Great. Well, when you talk about moving more things to a mobile device, I'm going to use that as a segue into talking a little bit about the equipment that you're using today, mm-hmm. Both from an end user perspective and maybe from the server room or data center. So let's talk a little bit about endpoints, and then if you would add a little bit about the data center and cloud initiatives such that there are.
Well, cloud initiatives are interesting because we have cloud services that we use, but our core infrastructure is still in-house. Okay. We've been fairly resistant to move that out, simply because we understand the process of the expense structure changes significantly as you do that, mm-hmm. and we're in the process of learning how to manage that so it doesn't spin out of control.
Okay.
Endpoints, two sets of endpoints, right? We've got laptops and we've got cell phones. We don't really issue iPads and tablets to our sales force.
Okay.
But Within those, we have a standard of an iPhone, but we are starting to move towards a BYOD, more of an infrastructure where you say you can get what you want, we'll give you a stipend for that, and then all you have to do is register your device with our mobile device management solution.
Oh, okay. And then the mobile device management solution also is including some level of security.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So that you can separate their
We separate
personal-
our stuff from their stuff.
Right, their personal
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's been a key. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about in general, that maybe IT initiatives that you're going through at Pilot, or things that are maybe your project plan list for the next year or 2 years?
Well, on a more immediate note, we're actually moving our headquarters, which is, if anyone's ever done that, no small feat, including moving our data center.
Okay.
We're only going about 5 miles away, but that's the current project that's
Might as well
taking
be
up
50.
everybody's time. Right, exactly. It doesn't really matter. That's a big effort. We're looking to expand our multi-factor authentication
Okay.
across more than just through our Microsoft end of things. We're looking at expanding our SharePoint environment. SharePoint has really been a big benefit for Pilot Chemical in helping us with our communications and our data repositories. What else are we doing? Data center. We're looking at centralizing more and more our data repositories in common areas so that people can pull from those and be pulling from the one source of truth
Okay.
and pulling from it correctly.
Yeah.
So,
It's nice when everybody has the same data.
that really is.
Great. Well, thanks for being with us today, Marc. I would like to thank Marc Moser for joining us today, and for those listening to the interview. To learn more, go to comspark.tech.